Welcome, audience, to the show. I'm Alex, and I want to tell you a story. So sit back in your chair, get comfortable, because we're going to be here a while. Grab your favorite snack, a beverage of your choice, but nothing that breaks with the sound, because we're about to dive deep into the 22nd century. This is the story of Mass Effect. What if Commander Shepard had elected himself as Councillor for Humanity? So before we engage in the entirety of the what if, we're going to be establishing Shepard's personality, as Mass Effect is a game and a story in which the player's choices heavily influence what happens. We're going to go over what things did Shepard do during the progression of Mass Effect 1 until the point where he beats Saren on the Citadel. We're going to do this rather swiftly. Shepard recruited both Ashley, Kaidan, Rex, Tali, and Garrus and Liara as per usual as the first things, so no Liara hallucinations for this run. The first thing he did after recruiting his team was building their trust before heading into the investigation of Saren, and so he acquired Rex's battle armor, Geth data for Tali, and stopped Dr. Salion with Garrus. As for Liara, the loyalty part there was actually sort of entwined from the beginning when she learns that Shepard has the cipher and mind melds with him. She completely devotes herself to his service as per usual. In the rest of the world, in the rest of the galaxy, Commander Shepard is an icon of pure renegade force, a driving fist, and if anything stands between him and his goal, it is well known that that thing is going to break down into tiny pieces of rubble and not stand there anymore. If you have any doubts about this, you could ask Khaleesa bin Seal al-Jilani from Westland News, who has taken his fist to her face as she attempted to interview him, or that Admiral guy who showed up at the Normandy to try and show out the aliens from it, and who also had to be asked to leave. So with a renegade Shepard here, I feel will work best as we try to establish him as a sort of egomaniacal bad guy who's like doing the right thing for the right reason, but everything else is going to go pretty lowborn on the alignment scale. He's basically a heavy, chaotic, neutral guy, this Commander Shepard. However, this renegade ship isn't going to be pure full renegade. Here are some of the things that are going to stand out. Ernard Rex is going to have survived the mission on Vermeer. This is going to be essential, and this is made possible by Shepard recovering Rex's family armor, as previously mentioned. This means that Rex has a lot of respect for Shepard and decides to follow him into the thick of the fire. Speaking of Vermeer, Captain Kirahi and his men have survived, as they were sent with Lieutenant Gunnery Chief Ashley Williams. I was about to call her the Lieutenant Commander, but that isn't until in quite a few years. They were sent with Gunnery Chief Ashley Williams to take down the AA towers, and Shepard made the choice to sacrifice Kaidan Alenko to arm the nuke while rescuing Ashley and the Salarians from the AA Tower conflict. This was also their first real encounter with Saren, in which Shepard let nothing be barred. He assaulted the man, he insulted Saren as a traitor, not only to the Turians, to the Spectres, but to the entire galaxy and to every organic living being. Saren might have changed a bit of his views on this, but as we know, Sovereign is going to augment him through some stims and tubes and a few indoctrination thingies, and so Saren is going to still fall to the dark side here. But the important thing is that Williams is alive, Ashley Williams is alive, as well as the Solarian teams. As for the encounter with the matriarch Benetia, Liara was there to see her mother in her final hours, and this is something that she truly cherishes, and this is also why she, even though she questions Shepard's motives to the very, very, very brink, it's like, Shepard, are we sure we're going to do this? Like, that nuke is going to kill people, and Shepard, well, she still follows him because, yeah, he's done a lot of good. Now, with the party ready to go with Shepard the distance through the relay to Ilos, through the Mu relay to Ilos, from Ilos with the conduit, meeting Vigil, facing off, running down the Geth as they try to plow through to the conduit before Saren walk through with them and chase him down on the Citadel. As the battle for the Citadel goes down, the Destiny Ascension goes down in flames as Shepard orders the Alliance to hold back out in the Arcturus sector. Sitting there, the entire 5th Fleet is about to enter as Shepard calls, "No, hold back, we gotta hold our forces, we gotta take Sovereign when he's weak, abandon the Destiny Ascension." So this, of course, does, as always, split the aliens a bit from the humans, but Shepard doesn't actually discriminate against aliens in this Renegade playthrough, only the stupid ones, just as he would discriminate against any stupid human, in his opinion. So as Saren rises, reanimated by Sovereign, Shepard, Garrus, and the entire crew takes him down, and Urdnot Rex gets to land the final blow with a very grunt-like spoilers for later. Well, Shepard afterwards rises as the piles the debris from Sovereign rains upon the Citadel in a fiery inferno of death, taking out nearly as many as the actual Geth attack did. Many more are actually killed by the debris from the massive Reaper, which is described to be a nation in its own right in both size and spectrum. So, but Shepard rises from this and meets up with the only living politicians that are in power here, which is sort of the ambassador Udina, Donald Udina from the Humans, and Captain Anderson is there as well. But this time they're not just them, they have united a few more of the prospectual ambassadors and councillors from the different races, from the Asari and such, and they're all looking at Shepard with disbelief, believing as the Solarian Dalatras turns to him and says, "Shepard, we see what you did here, but we are in accord. What you did saved all of us, and this must not be undervalued from any of us." To which Anderson nods and goes, "Yeah, always said you're a bloody hero in my book, Shepard. But that's not why we're here, Dalatras." And then they all nod and look to Udina. Anderson's right. "We are here to select what is going to happen with the Council, seeing as the Destiny Ascension and the old Council has gone up in flames. Commander Shepard, seeing as you had such a large investment in saving the Citadel, I'm sure these honorable representatives from the rest of the galaxy would like to know what your opinion on the matter is." Shepard turns in place. Everyone's expecting him to either nominate Udina or Anderson for Human Councillor, as he does in the first Mass Effect game. But this is where the hands of fate are going to differ for this run. We are going to branch out now into fanfic timeline. This is where the what if happens. Shepard steps forward. He shrugs, the blood from Saren still running down his armor, seeing as he's just come from the fight. There's soot, there's blast mark, his shields are still not recharged. And he looks to all of the represented, stands in the middle of them, and goes, "The Council disrespected everything we brought in front of them. They were the reason this attack was permitted to happen. Politicians are all well and good for peace times, but this is not a time of peace. Sovereign proved that we need stronger authorities. We need stronger people to lead us if we are going to survive The Reapers are coming. We don't know when, we don't know how. We stopped them here today, but it's only a delay. And if you thought Sovereign was bad, a nation, imagine a legion of nations attacking us all. Everyone goes silent. They understand, seeing the destruction raining around them, watching the fires, hearing civilians still crying from below in the wards, hearing CSEC alarms all over the Citadel. Avena still going crazy, and they all look to Shepard. Well, what would you have us do? And Shepard stands up. He shrugs, raises his pistol in the air, swipes it down in a low swoop. Follow me, he says, as he begins to walk towards the Citadel Tower, speaking as they walk together. As they walk, people start to come closer to them. They start to rally behind these politicians, behind Shepard, and behind Shepard's crew. Some of Garrus' old friends from CSEC join, and even Executor Palin walks slowly behind. He survived the Citadel attack in this edition, and he's actually going to be pretty important later for all that he is. Shepard goes, Humanity saved you all, but we couldn't have done this alone. We had the aid of every alien race, every prominent alien race in the galaxy to reach this point. I couldn't have done this without Liara, Garrus, Rex, Tali, well, Ashley and Caden too. And even some of those who were smaller names on the way. And this just proves that none of us can do this alone. None of us can stand against this threat alone. If one traitor drove us this far, we have to rally. But it isn't going to be under some politician gunning for his own glory. And so, Shepard says, I want to take the lead. A dead silence rushes as he stands in front of the Citadel Tower, looking up towards where he just fought Sovereign. The debris still not having been perfectly cleared, the things still sort of burning around him, dead Geth being taken away by the keepers that are crawling. Anderson is the first person to say anything. Udina looking stunned, his grimace even worse than it ever was when Shepard recommended Anderson. This is one thing he did not see coming. But Anderson, he goes, well then, I guess I'm gonna have to relieve you of command, Councillor Shepard. Says Rex. This is a fine choice. I'm fairly sure we can work out some agreements if you let Shepard in. Chuchanga will have your back. Vicarian steps forward as well. You have my gun, and I'll take on everyone who gets between you and saving this galaxy, just as we did. Liara nods in the back. Tali stirs a bit. I will see what help I can get you from the migrant fleet, she says, the voice and lights from below her mask emitting as kind of robotic as the Quarians have a tendency to do. They all turn to face the rest of them. Shepard standing there in front of everyone with Anderson and his entire crew behind him. And this is where the Solarian Dalatras, the to-be ambassador, councillor for these Solarians, steps forward and says, if anyone can do this, Commander, it's you. You'll have our fleets, our forces, and my support. And she goes up and attempts to shake Shepard's hand. And he takes it. What ensues is a massive applause. The entire Citadel is shaking with the news spreading that Commander Shepard has taken control of the Council, already in the deepness of the wards, where even CSEC has nothing to say, where the fates stir and the shadows are moving. People are already whispering of a coup by the humans to have taken over the power in the galaxy, that Shepard actually willingly killed, not only sacked, but actually killed the councillors to attain this power for humanity. We all know this isn't true, but rumors spread, and there are strong anti-human voices everywhere on the Citadel. What follows in the following weeks is strength building and repairing the citadel, while also rallying percentages of everyone's fleets. This is the first thing Shepard actually gets going, is a massive citadel defense force. He knows that if the Reapers will want to take the galaxy in one fell swoop again, if just one of them can make do with what Sovereign did, this is going to go so badly for them if the citadel is taken. And so they all rally. They get 15% of every fleet in the galaxy is to rally to the system where the citadel is. And so this massive fleet is orbiting, just lying there. There's a new depot stationed for every single race, and the Turians chime in quickly, same as the Salarians, the Asari, and the humans. But quite soon, and surprisingly to most, the Volus and the Elcor actually join in very swiftly, hoping that this joining at the first sign is going to be what brings their nations those embassies that they have been wishing for on the Citadel for generations. But not everyone views this rise to power from the humans as a success. The Batarians in particular are so upset by this after Shang-Chi, after the First Contact Wars, after everything that the Batarians and the humans have done to each other. They just go, no, we will not be participating in anything else within Citadel space while humans hold the reins. They spit, the Batarian ambassadors spit on the Citadel, calling them humanity's lapdogs, as he leaves for his own system, rallying his own people for the attack of the Reapers. The Turians also are reluctant at first, but Shepard has a way with this. Tali Sora was Nima returns to the migrant fleet, now with the title Ambassador of the Citadel, honorary Ambassador of the Citadel. And she's going to talk to the captains, not the Admiralty Board, not those crazy people who are busy trying to figure out plans to retake Rannoch. Already here we know this is what the Krogan were doing. They were experimenting on Geth to try to find ways to retake their homeworld. But here Tali is going to address the captains of each individual vessel, from the Quip to the Nima to the Raya. All of them, she's going to go around, talk to them, and see if she can get individual captains to realize what needs to be done, so that she can surpass the Admiralty Board and have the people literally rally against those who would keep them focused on less important matters. In her opinion, not saying that Rannoch isn't a beautiful place to live, just that it might not be the priority until the giant death machines are beaten. As for the Turians, there isn't really much change with them, aside from the fact that they are less reluctant to help out than they were originally, especially since Executor Parlin of CSEC actually has a rather well standing within the Turian hierarchy, and so does Garrus's father. As we learn in Mass Effect 3, he was among the voices that were capable of moving mountains in getting Garrus, his task force, to counteract the Reaper threat. And while that task force was years too late in the original story, as the attack on Sovereign was witnessed by both Garrus Vakarian and by Executor Parlin, they are sent together to address the Turian hierarchy and convince them that this needs to be done now. This task force cannot wait. Those 50% ships that they are now rallying as a fleet by the Citadel is not going to be enough. They have to prepare for this war that's coming through more means than that. They have to get new supply lines going, things that aren't recorded anywhere as of yet, because the Reapers have had access to everything they know, and they have to build this. And so that's what Garrus does. He's working together with formerly CSEC Executive Parlin to keep this under rocks. While Parlin is away, though, they needed a new commander for CSEC, and there's this up-and-coming captain who's been doing a lot of good work recently, and they had been thinking of promoting him. But then someone named Harkin made everyone hate human CSEC officers for quite a while and keep them away from officer status. However, Commander Bailey did so much good during the attack on the Citadel, helping civilians and escorting people around, taking less part in the actual fighting and more part in keeping people alive, which is what any good police officer should always be prioritizing, especially in the face of certain doom. This has gotten him so many references that he appears before the council and is actually instated as Executor Bailey after this fight. Which once again means that humanity now has two very powerful seats, as the primary councillor, who is Commander Shepard, head of commanding the forces of the Citadel and arranging the defense against the Reapers. They also now have Executor Bailey to take care of everything on the Citadel. Now, the Krogan. All of our favorite lizardy, dinosaur-y people. Erdnot Rex returns to Tuchanka, his family armor in hand, and does exactly what he did in Mass Effect. But he does it, 6 months earlier, I think, because he's not out there in space on the Normandy right now. That's the primary change here. Shepard is not sent by the Council, the new or the old, to go and deal with Geth incursions that aren't there. Instead, his team members can go about their business earlier. They still keep in touch, they still get to talk to each other through long-distance communications and such, but they're going to be working on building their different sectors. Liara, however, takes on a role that you might have expected. You thought I was going to twist it there. No, Liara is the most proficient expert on the Turians, and she believes that they might have had a way to deal with the Reapers, seeing as how the extinction of their people took as long as it did. And so she goes out into the galaxy with a team of other archaeologists, other experts, historians, xenologists, everyone she finds proficient. She brings them with her to find traces of Protheans, of their plans, their technology, anything she can use that they might have used against the Reapers. In this team you'll find a few quite known names, one of which is Jacob Taylor, a former Alliance Black Ops officer, a Corsair, who had done a few good things already, but has now been sort of, recommended for the mission by some really high-ups in the Alliance, among some, the Ambassador Donald Udina had apparently heard of this Jacob Taylor, and so he joins the mission as the primary man-at-arms. This is the man who will oversee security on the mission. And with him is an expert scientist, Dr. Miranda Lawson. Wow, that was... Well, yeah, that happens. Miranda Lawson is there as well with Liara. And then a Dr. Eva Kaur is as well. And they're going to be working closely with Liara, recommended by the top brass of the humans, straight from the War Councils themselves, from the Arcturus base. Even Admiral Hackett seems to be quite fond of these three, so they go with Liara to Mars, because this is where humanity's journey began, and it escalated so quickly. You have to remember that humanity jumped light years in a matter of days when they found the ruins on Mars. No other species advanced that quickly from the technology found from the Protheans, even though all of their Mass Effect drive cores are based on, they believe, Prothean technology, actually Reaper tech. The humans were the only ones who got such hard tech from their archives on Mars that they were able of jumping within years instead of decades, or even for some of them millennia. If you look at it, the Krogan have Prothean remnants on Tuchanka. We know this because Javik mentions it in Mass Effect 3. But they never actually developed space travel themselves, even though they grow thousands of years old. They were uplifted by the Solarians. That technology should have been insanely primed, but it isn't. And this just proves, for one thing, humanity's ingenuity towards inventing new things within the Mass Effect universe, but also that these archives on Mars are prime candidates for excavation. So that's where they go and start to study the archives. Ashley Williams is promoted to the 2nd Human Spectre rank, as Shepard will need her to be his new right hand, and also, just for the sake of it, sort of fitting rather well with the story, she is going to be the paramour of Shepard in this, so they are romantically involved and working together to create a brighter future for humanity in the galaxy. And so she and Anderson take the crew of the Normandy, as well as Exo Presley and Joker and everyone else, and they rally up as many of the best people they can within the Alliance, and then they set off into the galaxy to find ways that the Reapers might enter. They sort of continue Shepard's investigation into the Reapers by following clues on Ilos, by revisiting Noveria, seeing new things. And seeing as both Anderson is a former Spectre candidate and Ashley is a current, they also needed to bring on a new guidance. And who would this better be than an Asari? Taylor Lassier, the Spectre who is in Mass Effect 2 Lair of the Shadow Broker, related strictly to the Shadow Broker incident, is set as a counselor to humanity. For one thing, she is one of the Spectres in the galaxy with the highest respect for humanity. And so she was a prime candidate for working together with the humans to improve the general relations between aliens and humans in the galaxy. This is where we pick off for now, as we enter a bit of a time skip with the Shepard not dying actually happening here. So, what did you think of this part? Leave any comments and feedback or ideas of what you think is going to happen in the next part down below. Also, feel free to like and subscribe if you like this. And yeah, I think that was it. I will see you all next time.